Hey everyone, welcome to another training video in SC-300 Microsoft Identity and Access Administrator series. In this training video, I will cover the learning path on implement an identity management solution and its first module, that is create, configure and manage the identities. The module learning objectives are explain and configure the identities for use in your cloud solutions like the users, groups or devices, deploy and manage a Microsoft Entra ID infrastructure, and finally configure and maintain the external and hybrid identities. My name is Navneet Kumar and I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. In case you are new to this channel, please do subscribe it for future updates. Without any further ado, let's get started. The module on create, configure and manage identities covers the following learning objectives: create and configure and manage the users, create, configure and manage groups, configure and manage the device identities, managing the licenses and their assignment, custom security attributes, and provisioning the identities using the system for cross identity management, also referred as SCIM. To create, configure and manage the users, we can use different portals. Entra portal is one of them that we can use. The user identity is actually assigned to the human being, which perform the interactive authentication to access the corporate applications and data. We have different types of cloud identities or Entra identities. The identities assigned to human being are referred as user identities, whereas we have the workload identities, also referred as service principals or managed identities, and for the hardwares we also can assign the identities that is known as device. The purpose of the identities is to authenticate in the network and access the corporate resources. The cloud identities can be internal or external. The native identities that are created within the directory and perform the authentication using the local or native directory are known as internal identities, whereas we can also invite the external identities as a guest or member of the directory. The three kind of users that we have are cloud identities, which are used in cloud-born organizations or where we have cloud-only setup. We don't have any on-premises infrastructure or identity infrastructure to synchronize. That is known as cloud identity, which is solely available in the cloud for accessing the cloud applications. If we have on-premises directory services, we can synchronize the identities to the cloud, to the Entra identity using the Entra ID Connect, which was formerly known as Azure AD Connect tool, or using the Cloud Sync tool. We also can invite the external users from their accounts, be it the Microsoft or non-Microsoft accounts like their Google or social media identity accounts. We can invite them and allow them the access. In my previous videos of the demonstrations and the learning path, I have covered the collaboration for business to business and for external identities. If you have not watched my previous videos, so do watch them for collaboration with external identities and their configuration. When it comes to the settings for the users, we set up the groups, the group membership of the users, licenses can be explicitly assigned to the users or we can assign them to a group. Devices that have been enrolled by the user are also displayed, and the location, that is the usage location for the user, which is required in fact for the license assignment, so that the usage location can control the access based on what locations the user operates in. We create, configure and manage the groups in the Entra portal. We have different types of groups. Number one is security group, which is used for access control purpose. It is a most common type of group. We use it to assign the permission. Microsoft 365 groups we have that are used for collaboration purpose, access shared mailboxes or calendar, SharePoint, and for Teams, etc. We use these Microsoft 365 groups for collaboration purpose. So the primary difference between security group and Microsoft 365 group is that security groups are for access control or for permission management, and the Microsoft 365 groups are used for collaboration purpose. The 365 groups give access to the external people, also unable to nest the within a group. The group membership can be directly assigned, where we can assign the users as member of the groups, or it can be dynamic membership of the users or devices based on the expressions that we can define. These expressions define the attributes of the users or devices based on which their memberships are decided. For an instance, if the user's attribute department is IT, so it should be a member of IT group automatically. That sort of conditions can be set. In fact, I have demonstrated this in one of the previous lab, how to use the dynamic groups and assign the users dynamically to their respective groups based on their attributes. The group configuration options that are available to set up the properties. Administrative units are actually the containers that are used to define the scope of the identities to be managed within that administrative unit or boundary. Group memberships, who will be the member of group, that can be decided directly, added members or based on the expressions. Roles and administrators, we can use to assign the roles to the groups. This provides the advantage that the users get these permissions or roles inherited assigned to their groups. If the user leaves a group, the permissions are automatically removed. Let's discuss about configuring and managing the device identities in Entra ID. The Microsoft Entra ID can have the devices enrolled to it in different ways. Number one is the registered devices, which is basically used for bring your own device scenarios where users bring their own devices, because these devices are the personal devices of the users. So we do not join them to the Entra ID. Rather, we register them to the Entra ID so that we can get them enrolled to the MDM solutions like Intune or for endpoint protection. It is not fully functional Entra ID join for the devices. Also attached to the Microsoft Entra ID account, granting access to the organizational resources, control using the mobile device management tools like Microsoft Intune, Mobileron, or the VMware's Workspace ONE. The operating systems that are supported for this sort of registration of the device are Windows 10 or 11, which you can directly register by going to the accounts settings, whereas the iOS, Android, or macOS devices can be enrolled using the company portal app, Intune company portal app, or the relevant Intune solution that you use. In terms of in Microsoft Intune, the company portal app, Intune company portal app, is available from the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. I have done a video in MD102 series on enrolling the Mac OS or iOS, iPad OS devices to the Entra ID for the management through the Microsoft Intune. So do visit that playlist of MD102 for the non-Windows device enrollment to the Entra ID. Microsoft Entra ID joint devices is used for corporate-owned devices, also referred as COD sometimes. And in this case, we join the devices to the Entra ID the same way that we join them to the Active Directory domain services in our on-premises. This can be done in two ways. One is that if we have cloud-only identity solutions, then we can join them to the Entra ID directly. And for that, we need the Windows 10 or 11 devices. We also have the second option, that is for hybrid purpose, where the machine is joined to the Active Directory domain services in on-premises, and using the hybrid identity connectivity tool like Entra ID Connect tool, we can synchronize the devices, the computer accounts from on-premises to the Entra ID, and they are registered, or you can say enrolled to the Entra ID as well. So this type of setup is used for co-management. When, for an instance, I want to use the Microsoft Configuration Manager, formerly known as MECM or SCCM, is supposed to be used to manage these devices, and as well as the control through the Intune or another MDM solution I need to have. So in this case, we can synchronize the devices from our on-premises Active Directory to the Entra ID. So these are the three different methods for enrolling or registering the devices to the Entra ID. If I provide you a quick recall, we have registered devices for the bring your own device. We have Entra join device, where we join the devices to the Entra ID, and hybrid join. I have covered all three scenarios in the MD102 series. I will put the reference link of those videos within the description of this video. To keep it short, you can visit those videos to see that how do we do the registration of the devices to the Entra ID using these three different methods. The device writeback is a feature, a premium feature that we can use to the devices that have been joined to the Entra ID to send them back or synchronize them to the on-premises, as the term suggests, writeback. So the device that has joined to the cloud or Entra ID will be synchronized back to my on-premises and will be stored in that container called registered devices. And for this, the conditional access for the ADFS protected devices used. We provide extra security and the assurance that the access to the applications is granted only to the trusted devices. Synchronize all the devices registered to the Azure back to the on-premises Active Directory, and it requires to the single sign-on to be enabled. I also have covered this device writeback in the hybrid join, which is one of the feature that you get while configuring your Entra ID Connect tool. So do visit those videos to see this process of enrolling these devices to the Entra ID. Management of licenses and their assignment is also one of the crucial role in the Entra ID to perform. And for these licenses, we can use the different portals. Primarily, we use the Office 365 Admin Center to do this job. These licenses are there for the Entra ID, maybe Premium P1, P2 license, or Entra ID governance we want to use. There are few features that come with Premium Entra ID. For an instance, the conditional access policies you want to use, they come with the P1. The self-service password reset comes with Premium Directory, whereas some of the features are limited to the Premium Plan 2, like the identity protection, the machine learning based service, or privileged identity management, PIM, identity governance, entitlement management. There are many features related to the identity protection and governance that are limited to the P2 plan. I will put the link of the comparison of the plans of the Entra ID. You can visit to that reference link to see the comparison of all the features that you get in these different plans. The license assignment can be done from the Entra portal, or for the Office 365 or the Power Platform applications or any other license that you have for the apps, you can do the assignment from the Admin Center. Additional services like Office 365 are paid cloud services. Microsoft paid cloud services require the licenses. Licenses are assigned to each user who needs access to the services. This license assignment can be done to individual users, which can be a challenging job in large environments. To keep it handy, we do it on the group that we will discuss in the next slide. Each user requires a separate paid license. Administrators use management portals, and the PowerShell command lets to manage these licenses. The portal primarily we use is the Office 365 Admin Center, admin.microsoft.com for this. In my previous videos, I have done the license management and demonstrated that as a lab. So you can see the labs for license assignment. The group-based licensing is one of the way that makes it handy to assign the licenses to multiple users at the same time. The Microsoft Entra ID assigns to all the members of the group. The new group members automatically get the license assigned to them. If the user leaves the group, the license is automatically removed. The licenses can be assigned to any security group. Next is custom security attribute. In the context with Microsoft Entra ID, the business-specific attributes are the key value pairs that you can define and assign to the Entra ID objects like the users, groups, or devices. These attributes allow you to tailor the identity management to your organization's specific requirements. It enables more granular control over the access and the policy enforcements. You can think of them as additional custom attributes assigned, or the way that we used to do the Active Directory schema extension in our on-premises to add additional attributes to be used by the applications. For an instance, you could define an attribute like the app1 storage clearance for the users who require the access to a specific resource. The attribute could be assigned with the value like the high, medium, or low that depends to the level of clearance the user has. This attribute can be consumed by the applications to either allow the users with high clearance to access the sensitive storage resources, restrict access for users with low clearance, or block them from accessing the certain applications or the data. This customization can help in enhancing the security and the user's access to the resources dynamically. This is the dynamic control that is offered. This feature of adding the custom security attributes to your identities is available through the Premium Plan 1 or Plan 2. Provisioning the users using the SCIM tool is very common these days. We do the identity provisioning from the cloud applications using the system for cross identity management. We use different HCM tools, the human capital management tools, through which we want the attributes to be centralized, the identity creation to be centralized. So this provides the standardized protocols that automate the process of creating, updating, or deactivating the user accounts across the multiple cloud-based applications and the directory services. The SCIM enables the seamless integration between the identity providers like Azure Active Directory or the Entra ID and the third-party applications. This ensures the consistent user provisioning, deprovisioning, or the attribute synchronization across different applications. Think of it like we have some HCM application, maybe from Oracle or some other vendor, and this human capital management application is used by the HR department when new joinee joins the company. So his or her attributes or the identity is created by the HR in this through this HCM app. Now the SCIM leverages the integration and synchronization of these attributes to the Microsoft Entra ID so that the same identity is created in Microsoft Entra ID, and the Entra ID admins can assign the required licenses or the applications to these new joinees. Well, this is how the SCIM works. In case you have any questions or doubts, please put them into the comment section. This brings to the end of this module on management of the users, groups, devices, licenses, the security attributes, the custom attributes, and the SCIM. I will see you in the next video. Till then, stay tuned and subscribe to the channel in case you have not subscribed it yet. Thanks for watching and see you in next video.